Okay folks, the next topic in the off-grid homestead video series. The actual location of the house with regards to where it's being built. Okay, this house is built on high ground. You have to bear with me because I'm out of the wind at the moment. This is looking towards the back of the house. You can see it slopes off quite steeply down there. So if I pan around, this is looking towards the front of the house. Again, it drains off or slopes off very steeply there. Okay, so that's another consideration where you build your homestead. And this is the track into the house yard. Okay, it's a little bit higher, but you can see here and down there that the water drains off in heavy rains or severe weather situations quite freely. In fact, 2 years ago, or roughly 2 years ago, during the flooding disasters in this area, yes, they had a bit of water running down here. But nothing serious, nothing that threatened the house or any of the outbuildings. So in that respect, it's a good spot. John and Sandy have picked a good spot to build the house in relation to severe weather events, rain events, heavy storms and so on. Part and parcel of that is that because of this house is on stumps and not on a concrete slab. During the flooding disasters about 2 years ago, as I said, they had water flowing down here. It could well have been a situation where they had water coming through their house. So this homestead here is very well built, very well located in regards to the surrounding area. And very well planned out overall. And this brings us on to the next topic, water. So we'll move on to that one. Okay, this is a view of the actual house. It's quite a big house, verandas or porches all around it, which is fairly typical of some of the older design homes going back to early last century and around about there. Particularly with our hot summers here, these wide porches or verandas provide insulation, heat insulation, so that you get direct sunlight onto the walls of the house, and helps to keep it cool. On the roof there's a solar hot water system, and just off here is rainwater storage tanks collected off the house. This house is built on steel stumps, RHS, galvanised, and they're adjustable because while the ground here moves, when it dries out it becomes wet, so it helps to keep the floor levels relatively level. So that's it. Got a work shed off here to the left, which also contains the back end of the solar system. Quite a large acreage property, this one. We've got some vegetable gardens there, and I'll cover that later, and also some poultry in there, so I'll cover that in a later video. So I'll just pan around, give you some idea of the property. John did take me for a drive the other day up around the boundary, and in an old Toyota four-wheel drive, and it's pretty rugged up there. If you're humping it through the bush here looking for game, hunting food, looking for edible plants and stuff, as you can see it's quite thick, and you really got to know your stuff when you're trekking through this sort of country, and you've got to be very physically fit. This property also has a number of dams on it, which I'll cover later. 3 or 4. Bit of bush tucker in there with yabbies, so John's given me permission to drop a couple of pots in and see what comes out of them. So that'll be another topic I'll cover later on. Okay, this is one of the homesteads I'm passing. It's not the one I'm going to caretake, but this is fairly typical. Houses are bigger and smaller, but they're totally off grid, and if I can just zoom in, you can see that they've got their own solar power, and that's the house there. But all down this road they're all off grid, so as I said, they've got to be pretty self-reliant, self-sufficient. So it gives you some idea. There's another one back up the road I passed. I'll try and get a better shot of it on the way back. It's a huge house. Yeah, this is the type of homesteads we're finding in this area. Well, this is another example of off-grid homesteading in this area. I'm standing on the road, so I don't want to go into private property. So this is quite a big homestead. You can see it through the trees there. And the way they've done it is they've done what we call here in Australia a big cut and fill out of the side of the hill, and built the house on that. So that's another example. I don't know these people, and I'm not going to encroach on their private property. So we'll go on up to the place I'm caretaking and do some videoing up there.